that's believe me, that's a prereq on my side. So
awesome.
Not to fear.
No, I think single game.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a good week. Championship week, college football, got college basketball tonight.
That's good. Yep. All right, welcome back. We are a week past Thanksgiving and all that stuff, so no longer do we need to wish you a happy holidays. We're in full holiday mode now. Whatever gift-giving holiday you celebrate in December, we will preemptively wish you a happy one here as we start winding down single-digit weeks remaining in the NFL. We have a lot with college football championship weeks ahead, and we'll start to shift over with more NBA, college basketball, a ton of betting content on the Awesemo Odds channel, including this live show, the Awesemo Odds betting show. Myself, Ben Ross is in the house. Mike Awesemo is producing. We'll tell you all about BetMGM, where you can win or actually get up to $1,000 risk-free bet. A lot of things happening on channel, on site, and it's all here because of Ben. What's happening, brother?
What's up, man? Yeah, we're through Thanksgiving and on to the home stretch of NFL championship week in college football, hoops every night. We say, oh, short week. That's not the case. These teams played on Thanksgiving, but that doesn't make it any less ugly than a normal Thursday game. A lot of injuries, a lot of unknowns. But as I say often, that I think creates opportunities for us in the betting market.
I love it. People already putting in their lock it up plays. Yes, John Shelton, I'm sure you're speaking to Ben Ross's heart whenever you give a PGA lock it up here, Mr. PGA, right? Yes, I know Eric Lindquist will probably have an issue with me calling you that, but other than that, we're okay. So let's start, my friend. We have a lot to look at tonight, Thursday Night Football. We will use Odd Shopper throughout. It is your free home for everything you need, from individual player prop bets to team side totals, what have you. It's all of the work has been done for you based off of Alex Awesemo's projections on site. So we'll get to the prop parlay. I'm going to hit you with something that I built already. I love going. Odd Shopper is my Bible. You know that. And before we get out of here, I'm going to lock up a 3-play 6-point teaser in the NFL. You ready for that?
I am. Teasers have been good to us. So we got a lot on the board tonight. This one, though, man, you know, I did some videos on this very channel, Awesemo Odds, throughout the week about the Cowboys, and the spread has moved. And obviously Kamara being out will do that. But we see them flirting almost with the touchdown now. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Over-under's been bouncing around. It was at 47. Now it's 45.5. So this is one, I think people are going to have numbers all over the place with these spreads moving that much.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. On the 26th, I got in and it was at 5. And I just figured, well, there's a better chance of Dallas moving to 7 than it would be down to 3 based off of even if Alvin Kamara is playing. But yeah, I mean, it was a risk, right? Granted, it was a risk. And I love the fact that by tonight, I think with money, we could see a healthy 7-point spread. Now, does that change your opinion by any means? Or it's hard for me to take a team that is so banged up with key players, especially not having Alvin Kamara. So as much as I hate to lay a touchdown, or 6.5 for that matter, on the road on a Thursday night, is there any argument at all for New Orleans as a side standpoint here?
No, not in my opinion, to be honest. I think it's more that maybe you don't bet the Cowboys, but I don't know how you back a team that has shown nothing. Now, there's one unknown, and that is Taysom Hill, who is back and is going to command this offense. I think that basically cements that I want to bet the under, but for a side, I guess you could make the argument that maybe he develops something on the ground that can give you something, because Trevor Siemian was giving you nothing.
No.
Michael Thomas is clearly not there. Kamara is not there. I don't know how they manufacture points. We saw what Buffalo did to them. I don't know why it would be much different offensively.
You're right. So we really, if you're just not going to bet the Cowboys, which is fine. I mean, there are plenty of times in which people win money by not betting. Right? So it's essentially you're not losing. I guess you could look at it that way. It's a push. But point being is that we now have a total at 46 points, which even if Alvin Kamara is playing, I'm probably staying away from this game as a whole and just seeing what happens in the first quarter and trying to pounce on live betting, which has been favorable, I think, especially with totals in these primetime games, Thursday night being no exception. But since Alvin Kamara is out, I'm with you. I think the Saints are not going to ask Taysom Hill to throw a ton, even though his ceiling last year against the Eagles was, I think he threw, we're talking about this with Greg, Ben, I think he threw like 38 times, something like that. That's not going to be the case, I don't think, tonight. So I'm with you that the Saints, unfortunately, are just going to be stuck. Cowboys have two backs they can move the ball with. Yeah, Dak's expected to have a big night, but you can get 34 points, and this thing could still finish under 46 points easily.
I mean, again, it's a repeat of Thanksgiving. Look what the Bills did.
Yes.
And it wasn't even close because the Saints aren't doing their part.
Under.
Way under. Yeah. I mean, it was only 30-something points total, and the Bills scored in the 30s. So, I mean, that just shows you where we're at. Yeah, it was 31-6. So I get it. I think for me, the thing about Kamara, and we'll never know, him and Taysom Hill really had no connection. Taysom Hill is a totally different type of player back there. It's not Jameis. It's certainly not Breeze. And that was my concern. But I think now looking, what we do know is, of course, that the Saints are going to deploy what is going to be a very run-heavy approach from their quarterback position. Obviously, Taysom Hill is a guy, when he started, he's averaged 9.7 carries in those games. I clearly think he's going to be doing that tonight. What does that do? A, it burns a lot of clock. I think that's the main thing, which I like. And B, it does give them a new identity, but it's hard to think that the weapons on the outside benefit from this when this guy is an isolation type player.
Yeah, and looking at this, I did see Danny P on the chat. Reminder, hit that thumbs up button, please. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed here as well. Don't just hang out. We want you hanging out each and every time we're doing shows. So make sure you're subscribed. We have a ton of content across multiple different sports as well here for betting odds and information, just direction and education, everything all at once. But you saw that there, Danny P, Taysom Hill, anytime TD, a smash. I love that, by the way. And I saw that he scored a TD in 4 of his last 5 games at home. I know you love those trends, Ben.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, listen, the only thing that I take from it is that they give Taysom Hill ample opportunities around the goal line to get in the end zone. And certainly he can call his own number here. My biggest worry is that the Saints, I know it sounds ridiculous, I don't know how many touchdowns they're going to have total. I feel pretty good about him being the touchdown scorer. I just worry that the offense might not be too effective, but again, he's going to take it upon himself. I expect a heavy dose of rushing yards for him. That prop has exploded. It was at 32.5. It's up to 41.5, his rushing yards. So clearly the books agree that Taysom Hill on the ground is the thing tonight.
Now, I am in PA, so anybody else who is in PA has the opportunity to use Odds Shopper, look at different sites, different places, and let me pump BetMGM up here, because this is some of the best value that I've seen for an anytime TD on Taysom Hill at 2-1 back. So initially I saw it at plus 160, and I'm thinking, yeah, I get the narrative and the script here that if there's anybody that has a chance of scoring in the red zone on the ground, it's Hill first. But I don't know about 160. 200 now, I think, makes it workable. I think that it's worth now a play at 2-1.
Yeah, I have no problem with that number as well. Again, I think that we know that the Saints' identity with Taysom Hill changes completely. It's a totally different look. I expect that tonight. You have to think too, just in a standpoint, I'm not trying to play mind reader, but given what we just saw, they got blown out. If you're the Saints, you want to up the variance by slowing the tempo, less possessions. You're at home, lean on your defense, lean on Taysom Hill's rushing ability, and get out of there. You don't want to be going back and forth with Dak Prescott on the other side. So I think all of these things lean the same way. And Danny identified that in chat as well.
So I saw Kevin Bloomfield in chat mention or ask about the first half totals. He's all over salivating like
Damn
I am.
right.
Here's the thing, and this is where I'm conflicted, because I agree with you wholeheartedly that the best opportunity the Saints have just to keep this thing respectable is to slow everything down. The Cowboys are not forced by any means. I know the Saints rush defense is this big bad unit, but the Eagles expose them. You can run on them if you have talent, and the Cowboys have some talent and an offensive line. Not to say that it's going to be run heavy, but point being is that I'm with you where the Cowboys are not pressed right now to drop Prescott back 45 times tonight. So on one hand, I love the game script feeding into this first half under. On the other hand, it's not a Thursday night game. Yes,
No.
it's Thursday night football, but you mentioned there's no short week. We've been able to first half unders on Thursday night football, fellas and ladies and everyone else out there, has been killing because it's the short week factor, not so much the matchup factor. So that's where I'm kind of straddling this line, Ben. I don't know if you lean either way, but on one hand, I love the under, even at 23.5, which we always try for 24. I love going under 23.5 because I just don't see it from a game script standpoint. On the other side, this is just like a full week's worth of rest for both teams. And that has been a factor.
It is. And I get it. I still think, though, honestly, these teams are banged up enough. It might as well be a short week. Like, it's not like they've gotten weapons back. We really don't see that. And I think so personnel wise, I'm still more than content at shorting this game. The line is crumbling. And again, it's the whole philosophy of what the Saints are doing. How do they move? I mean, what are they going to do? Mark Ingram and Taysom Hill? How many points are they really going to give you? I like the team total under for the Saints, under 21.5. I don't think they do their part. I'm sure Dallas will move the ball, but Dallas isn't going to have an easy time either. The Saints defense is still pretty strong. So even though it's not a true Thursday game, I'm gonna go there.
Would you rather lay 130 for under 23.5 first half or get a 105 back on under 22.5? There's a subtle difference, but it's also based on how confident you are in the game script here in the first half.
I would rather go under 22.5 from what was it, minus 105?
Plus 105.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Then it's not even close. Yeah. Yes, you're losing. You're going to lose the bet, obviously, more often because it could land on 23, but you're giving up less value, in my opinion.
All right, man. Let's keep it moving here. Odd Shopper, I saw just as I was sorting earlier to build my gigantic single game parlay that I'm going to roll with tonight. Ezekiel Elliott rushing yards is right there at the top. My goodness, Odd Shopper is going to tell you here, wherever you are, you can sort by whatever legal state you live in, what the best opportunity is for there. 45.5. We have Zeke projected at 66.3. Even if that's not on your radar, Ben Rasa, we kind of have to start there with that big of a gap from Alex's projection to where the book has it.
No doubt about it. That's what I love about Odd Shopper. 100% free, and you can get some insights. Ultimately, you may say, you know what, that's not for me, and that's fine. You pass. It's just identifying those bets. We really like the Zeke over, and I think the reason for that, just to kind of get in, is game script. So you look and, first thing I did, I went to the game log and I'm like, why are we leaning over so heavily on a guy that's had 25 and 32 rushing yards in his past couple games? Well, they lost those games. They lost to Las Vegas. They lost to Kansas City. They were trailing. When they've been winning the games, Zeke has a lot more volume on the ground, and they are 6.5 point favorite tonight. It does seem like a game where it could be a heavy ground attack. So I think that's where the value is coming from. Now, there is the Pollard situation. He's going to get some work, and the Saints do have a strong front. But if you do think the Cowboys win, I think the workload for Zeke justifies why you would lean over.
Yeah, and again, this is a great place to start if you're building your own single, if you're staking everything individually, you're building a round robin, you're building a single game parlay, what have you. It's a fantastic place to start, especially if you're building single game or same games, in this case with sliders, because you have the opportunity to drop it or bump it up a little bit. And that's something, I talk a lot about the sliders working in my favor, losing value, but I think the opposite here, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, by all means, but because there's such a wide gap, if I wanted to push this up to over 55.5, I'm still 11 yards under projection for Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm gaining significant value back based off of the difference between Awesemo projection and what the book has, even on a slider return like that.
Yeah, I think, again, it comes down first and foremost to volume. If you think the Cowboys win the game, where do you think Zeke's rushing total in terms of amount of carries falls? I think it would be a hell of a lot higher than what we just saw against the Raiders and against the Chiefs, where he had 9 carries in both of those games. He had 14 targets in those games, and that's why we saw his passing props cash easily. Vice versa, when they destroyed Atlanta, Zeke had 3 targets and 14 carries, and they won by 40 points. It probably would have been more if it wasn't that out of hand. So I think that's what we're really looking at here. Obviously, on the outside, getting guys like CeeDee Lamb back. And I believe that Cooper's back. We'll see about that. But regardless, Zeke should be heavily involved if they win.
I can't wait to get to the end here where we go college rapid fire. Hit
Oh
Shelton
my God.
on the Utes again at -2.5. There's a scenario here, and it happened last week with JD McKissick. I didn't quite understand it on the surface, and you did a fantastic job explaining how something like this can happen. It's happening again with Ezekiel Elliott receptions. Maybe not to the exact T of a definition, but you have a really good explanation as to why something like this can happen. So it's not rushing yards where we go over 45.5 because Alex's projection is 66.3. No, it's actually the opposite. Ezekiel Elliott's receptions projection is 2.9, but the X win percentage of under 2.5 is 69%. So Odd Shopper is telling you that you have a near 70% chance of going under 2.5, even though his projection is 2.9 receptions.
So yeah, that one also, it's going to depend on where you are. Cause like on my screen right now, I'm not in Pennsylvania. I see 3.5. So again, you're going to shop around. You're going to obviously lay different juice, but all I'll say about that is what we're doing is we are simulating it a ton of times and giving you that mean projection there. What happens though sometimes is that a guy, when he goes over by such a large amount, it skews it. And when he goes under, he's just missing. So sometimes it can actually be where more often than not, he's going to be very close to it, but there's still value in the opposite. And I know that's something we're going to dig into more on the odds channel in general, but basically all you need to know about that is that really with someone like that in receptions, you can hit, if it's over under 2.5, you can go 2, 2, 2, 10. And then if you average those numbers out, he would average to like 4.5 receptions, but he would be cashing the under 3 or 4 out of 5 times, if that makes sense, just as a very raw example.
No, it makes great sense. And I think just to follow up on that, if I were building, let's just say hypothetically here, I already have an Ezekiel Elliott rush prop in my single game parlay. And now I'm looking at Ezekiel Elliott receptions. In some cases, you can't over under, pardon me, a number. It just comes as 2+, 4+, 6+, 8+. Is it worth in this case adding a 2+ Ezekiel Elliott receptions and almost playing the opposite, knowing that it's now involved in a single game parlay, as opposed to just playing 2+ Ezekiel Elliott receptions for probably -150 or 140?
Yeah, I mean, I think these are the type of things, again, and I'm being absolutely truthful. That's why I really love Odd Chopper. It gives you the opportunities to experiment with that stuff.
Yes.
You get to see the different lines, you get to see the different values, and then you make your decision. And you say, you know what, I'm feeling dangerous. I'm going to take the best plus money, lower probability, but I like it. Or, you know what, I'm trying to grind tonight. I'm being very conservative. I'm going to maybe lay a little extra juice. I still see value. And I'm going to try to just maybe eke out a profit. We have things like that. The ARB calculator, that's guaranteed money. Again, I'm not going to go into all the tools, but I think Zeke's a really good example of that tonight. Depending on the game script, you have a lot of different ways that you can try to take a position on him.
Is there anything else outside of Taysom Hill, be it rushing or maybe that anytime TD? Is there any Saints prop that you were actually looking at? I mean, we do have an X-win 65% going under 2.5 receptions for Deontay Harris. So again, that's going to pay +122 depending on where you are. So it's probably an under 3.5 play most places. But I mean, we're even looking at anything Saints individually outside of Hill?
I think that honestly, he is such a polarizing player. And what I mean by that is he takes most of the offense for himself. It's hard to think that any of the skill position players are in that good of shape. And it doesn't mean that you can short them because the books have really caught on. I mean, these passing props for Harris and Callaway and Traquan, you're looking at 2.5s out there. Ingram, I mean, a pedestrian rushing total on the board of 46.5. I don't really see a ton of value either way. And I would normally have said, I like the Taysom Hill over rushing yards. I just don't really feel comfortable laying 41.5 when I could have got this in the mid 30s just hours ago.
Cowboys, we have a couple of guys that make it interesting with Amari Cooper playing, CeeDee Lamb up there, Cedric Wilson, and maybe even to a lesser extent, Dalton Schultz seeing some lesser volume there. I don't know if there's an opportunity to sneak in here. We always like looking when we can at the longest reception as well. If there's a guy, I mean, CeeDee Lamb from a player prop standpoint had 65.5 seems a little low for the one guy that I would say is not impacted by Amari Cooper playing or not.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. CeeDee Lamb is a true alpha. He's going to get his. And I totally think that you can look that. Now, again, I respect the Saints secondary. It's not going to just be that he shows up and he's dominant. But other thing I like, it was a concussion. Shouldn't be, it's not like, oh, he's going to play, but he's going to be limited. He cleared. He should be completely good to go. Full CeeDee Lamb. And I think you could actually look to, we've been talking about this a little, of course, low unit type play. CeeDee Lamb first touchdown, 9-1. Dalton Schultz first touchdown, 12-1. I think there's certainly, you got to think Dallas scores first. And if it's not one of the backs, well, you're going to have ample opportunities there to cash that. I think it's pretty good value.
By the way, with the field goal, we still were in play Monday night.
Oh, we had a chance.
We had a chance for that first TE to score. I was thinking of it because I played it too. And I was thinking of you as that game was going.
So, and that's all you can ask for at a number like that. Taylor Heinicke dropped back multiple times on the 5-yard line, and that's all you can really ask for. So that was true. And I certainly think that with the Cowboys tonight, there's a chance that, certainly CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz are going to be involved in this offensive attack.
You're right, man. Yeah, it's interesting to see how this thing plays out tonight with the script and everything going on. All right, let's hit our prop parlay here. We still have some time to get to college football. All your lock it ups, please. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, it helps us out, just like subscribing to the odds channel helps us out exponentially. We appreciate you. We're going to give you some free money, a risk-free bet at BetMGM. Click those links below. And as soon as you make your first deposit on BetMGM, you're going to get 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. And then you can use that any way you want. Sign up for a risk-free bet as well, up to $1,000. So you can use everything we're giving you. Odd Shopper is free on top of the 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Use all of these metrics and data that's available to you, and you can win some money. It's that easy. It really is that easy, Ben.
And no sign up. It's not like, oh, it's free. You just have to enter all this shit. No,
exactly.
you just go to the site.
Give us your life information. We don't ask for that, right?
No, we don't need to know. Well, maybe in due time, but you're all good now.
All right.
Yeah, prop parlay, single game parlays are all the rage. We obviously have some really cool things going on with there. And this is, listen, if there was one person I know, if someone said to me, who do you know that talks about same game parlays the most? It would be you. You are on top of this. You have discovered that there are some fun things and there's some edges to be had. So the floor is yours. Using Odd Shopper and using kind of your own thoughts on this game, is something stand out in terms of how you're constructing maybe a high upside bet tonight?
Yeah. So I want people to understand what I'm doing is basically what you should be doing out there. I'm here with Ben. We're talking. I'm giving you some insight that I have, but I'm learning and listening just like all of you are out there to what Ben's laying down. So I'm building this as we talk, as we're going to, and this is why it's so important to have, our show up. But if you're on your phone, have Odd Shopper out, or to have a second window, or to go back and forth and pay attention, maybe even have BetMGM open as well, so you can follow along and build. This is what I've built now. It's a 4-leg same game parlay. It's going to get me at plus 400. Now, a couple of sites are going to give you bonuses because, as Ben mentioned, they want you betting same game parlays. So you may get anywhere from a 50 to 100% bonus. Now, granted, it may be capped, etc., but it's still money coming back to you. Here's what I have. I'm going over 49.5 Ezekiel Elliott rushing yards. I'm going over 2 plus Ezekiel Elliott receptions. So I've played that counterpoint and taking a little bit of a risk to where we have the under. I'm trying to create that window and just hitting 2 plus. Over 44.5 Amari Cooper receiving yards. And just looking at that, what we had for Amari was over 45.5. He's projected at 56.1 with a 61% X win. So I'm going over the 44.5. And lastly, I'm taking Dak's Odd Shopper play, and I'm going 20 plus Dak Prescott completions because we have him considerably higher than that at 24.6 as a projection. The bet itself is 23.5. So I dropped that to 20 plus. Those 4 are going to get me plus 400. Now, full transparency, the 3 before the Dak got me to plus 370. So Dak 20 plus only moved at 30 points. It's not that big of a return for that much of a risk. I just wanted to let that out there as well. Just full transparency here.
No, that's important to know. And I think that's, we're going to be talking a lot about this. We're going to have some fun new segments with same game parlays. I think it's all about that mentality from a DFS standpoint for people watching. If a lot of you guys watch us for DFS, it's that concept of stacking. When you play a quarterback in DFS, you're going to target the receivers. Why? Because if the quarterback has a huge game, the receivers have to be catching those balls. And with same game parlays, it's that same concept. If I told you tonight that CeeDee Lamb had 3 touchdowns, well, Dak's overs look pretty damn good because who's throwing him the ball? And if I told you that Taysom Hill has 9 yards passing tonight, well, I don't think that Marquez Callaway and Traquan Smith are having big games. And it's just those type of things logically you can think about and incorporate in, and the under can come into play with that. I think if Taysom Hill has a lot of rushing attempts, the under looks really good tonight. And using Odd Chopper and what you just did with the sliders, a lot of ways, and you can really get a big time payoff. Certainly, I'm not going to say you'll be Sean's on in the round robin world, but
I'm trying.
Right. You know what? It only takes one, a little opportunity, just like GPPs. More often than not, obviously when trying to hit a high upside thing, it's not going to be your thing, but only takes a couple to really sustain you. And that's what's so fun about them.
Absolutely. And, Mike, if when we go back to here real quick, because Mike Awesemo, who's producing, has done a great job just showing you how things are working here with Odd Chopper. If you just go to tonight, like we've been doing, and I'm giving you Elliott, like you've been giving us, Dak or whomever, all of this is mixed in with everybody else. So it's not just tonight. Look at that. Tom Brady, I sorted by expected win percentage in PA. Tom Brady has a 70%, the third highest percentage, a best chance of a prop to hit is Tom Brady going over 26.5. The fifth highest chance of a prop to hit is Derek Carr going over 24.5 completions. The seventh highest prop is Leonard Fournette going under 36.5 receiving yards. That's 3 plus the 4-1 tonight from Ezekiel Elliott. That's 4 right there that I've just created in a parlay. Doesn't have to be single game, but it's an NFL weekend parlay with 4 different player props from 4 different games that can really net me some good money on the return.
I'm with you. No doubt about it. And again, that's something we're going to keep doing going forward, whether it's same game, multi-legs, you can sort by ROI, you can sort by all those other things. You see it on the screen there, NFL player props. So really good stuff for what is ultimately, we just talked for a half hour on a game that I think is going to be absolutely gross, but from a betting standpoint, there's a lot of opportunity.
There's never a bad night to bet on a game. There's always going to be some value, my friend. All right, let's hit the college rapid fire. I can't wait to lock it up with this 3-leg 6-point teaser that I had simmering here. It's like it's been marinating for a couple of days now. All right, November 30th is when I punched the ticket. Just for you, I saved it. Didn't even screenshot you on the Slack.
I want the goods, though. Don't be holding out on me.
Oh, I'm going to give it to you here.
Okay. People want to know.
Where to begin? We have a couple of lock it ups college-wise. You want to knock those out, and then you can end with your college rapid fire?
Sure.
All right, so let me go all the way. But don't worry, we're going to get to that Koepka play on the way out. I promise that. Bloomfield is locking up the Bills, by the way. -3. Don't hate that by any means. So the first college play I saw, all right, Shelton, anyone riding with the Utes again, -2.5. Oregon win with the revenge factor.
So I definitely think Oregon's going to play better. Obviously, they got destroyed in Salt Lake City. This game's in Vegas. But again, Utah made a change at quarterback after a 1-2 start. They started the wrong guy to begin the year. I think that's pretty obvious. This is a team that would have been in playoff contention. They are the best team in the Pac-12. They are strong up front. They've got multiple receivers from Covey, who's a gadget guy, to multiple tight ends. They can run the ball. They've got a great quarterback in Rising. Oregon's got some pieces, of course. I don't think they can play from behind. So I don't love it. It's not my favorite college bet of the week, but it would be Oregon. It would be Utah, or pass.
All right. And then I saw Bloomfield locking up the St. Joe's Hawks covering in the Holy War tonight.
Yes, that's. Is
that on your ticket?
It is not on my ticket. Can't say it is, but there's just so many games out there, no doubt about it. That one is not on my ticket, though.
What about Montana -5? Or
that is definitely not on my ticket. I respect it. Montana's got a little college basketball tonight.
Yeah.
And a little college football. They're in the FCS playoffs. So you know what? Those are the type of games you do the research. And obviously, Greg, one of the sharpest people in our chat. He does it. You can find crazy. I mean, I bet up just for, I bet Arkansas Pine Bluff yesterday in college basketball, just to show you how egregious sometimes it gets.
Yeah.
That can happen. And Montana probably fits the mold in that regard.
All right. So real quick, see a couple of people popping in. Nice to see Colin Berger. You're late. What took you so long? Kick. We love seeing Kick here coming in as well. Zeke going to be limited. 40 yards rushing seems way too low. This is the first one we hit from Odd Shopper projections right down to our own game flow and feel. We're slamming the over, right? For Ezekiel Elliott rushing props at 45.5.
It does seem low. And I think, again, it's a volume issue. If he has 9 carries to get over, you got to average like 5 yards a carry. That's very tough. If he gets 15 carries, we're talking about 3 yards a carry. That's very attainable. So I think in a positive game script, Zeke sets up to really look good tonight.
All right, brother. Rapid fire. What are you playing tonight in college? And be somewhat slow so we can take these down. Okay. All right.
I'm just going to say this. College basketball, it's not a great card. I like St. Mary's tonight. That's my favorite bet. Playing Utah State. St. Mary's is an experienced team. Return a ton. They know what they're doing. I don't think Utah State's that good. I've been shorting them a little bit this year to not great success, but I think that St. Mary's around Pick'em, which you can find out there, is the bet. But I'm just going to quickly rattle off a couple of college football plays. And I will say one of the great things about Awesemo, if you guys want to get involved, my full betting card and all the teams is available in our Discord. You can get every play. You can listen to the Betting You podcast. That's available anywhere you listen to podcasts with me and Matt Kajeski. You get our college football plays there. Or if you want to follow me and Eitan on Twitter, you could probably get some of those golden nuggets there as well. But I like Georgia -6. That's definitely on my card. I like Western Kentucky.
I love
-2.5. The Hilltoppers are going to avenge that loss in a game that's going to have a ton of points. And I like Pittsburgh against Wake Forest in another game that's going to have a ton of points in the ACC championship.
71.
Yeah, that's one. Wake Forest, 113th in the country in rushing yards allowed per attempt. I think Pitt guts them on the ground. And Georgia's just simply too good.
Yeah, I'm surprised you took a side on Western and not the under at 72.5. UTSA, I mean, they score. Don't get me wrong, both teams score, but we've seen this a lot. Like that Kent State, Northern Illinois is a total at 74.5. We see these gigantic numbers, right? At the championship, like this type of this point of the season. And I feel like this is like a playoff game where we see in the NFL or things slow down a little bit, but I'll gladly tail your side on Western Kentucky. I was just no feel on the total there at all.
It's just tough. They throw the ball so much.
So does UTSA. I get it, but we saw this a lot earlier in the year, right? Where two teams in the same conference have these gigantic totals and they can't reach them.
Possibly. I will say the first game these teams played, there was 98 total points.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I'm just saying they did play once and it was 52-46. But it's a championship game. The UTSA quarterback did not play last week. I think he will be back. They need him. But regardless, Western Kentucky is going to spread them out and throw the ball wildly, and they're going to be just fine. That's a Friday night game. And then Georgia has not been tested all year. Alabama is Alabama. They survived last week. I just want to bring up this point.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia plays on the other side of the SEC. A lot of people have said, you know what? Well, if they had to play Ole Miss and those teams week in and week out like Alabama, maybe it wouldn't be so lopsided. I think Kentucky is a very good opponent. And the more important point, well, they played common opponents. They both played Auburn and they both played Arkansas. Alabama beat Arkansas by 7, and they beat Alabama last week. Beat Auburn last week in double overtime on the road. Georgia beat Arkansas 37-0. They destroyed Auburn on the road as well. Georgia is unstoppable right now with their defense and their running backs and Stetson Bennett. I know Alabama is always, to beat the best, you're the champ until you're not. I don't know how they're going to move the ball on this team, though. And 6 points to me, I'm willing to lay it with Georgia.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think Bama, I just don't see it. And you laid it out from a data and history standpoint. It's just tough to combine it. Like it doesn't even counter. It's not like, the eye test tells you different than what the numbers in history tell you. It's all leading towards Georgia. All right, man. Let's lock it up. We'll get out of here. Let everybody enjoy their weekend. You and Pete will be back Sunday morning. You and I will be back Monday afternoon. So Don't go anywhere. Tons of video content has been mentioned across the board, college football to basketball, both college and the NBA. I'm going to lock up a 3-pick, 6-point teaser in the NFL. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Plus 160 back on this. Now, granted, things change, things shift, lines move. This was November 30th, 9:31 a.m. on the East Coast. So things may have changed as a result. But Eagles down from 6.5 to 0.5. I know there was concern about Jalen Hurts' ankle, and Jalen Reagor could be the quarterback. They're going to beat the Jets coming off of a win against the Houston Texans. It just screams letdown for a team that stinks. So I've basically moved the Eagles down to a pick 'em on the road. There's no way they're losing 2 straight games at MetLife to the Giants and the Jets. So they're down to a 0.5 point. I don't love it by any means, but I like it. I've bumped the Rams down from 13 to 6.5. They're under 2 key numbers now from 10 to 7. Okay. I saw your eyes. I don't love it. I said, I like it. I like it. And then lastly, I've moved the Vikings from 7 through 3 as well. They're laying a 1 point now on the road at Detroit.
There it is.
That could Detroit's winning this game?
I'm not saying they're winning the game. If you told me of your 3 legs, that is the one that I'm a little freaked out about.
They're laying a point on the road unless they tie like the Steelers, Ben. That's hitting.
Minnesota does things that they're talking about nonsensical. That team never makes sense. They lost to Cooper Rush. I get it. Listen, I see what you've done. You did your homework. You crossed key numbers. You know, crossing 0 is never ideal, but like, you've done that, and I like that.
I never crossed 0.
No, I'm sorry. You did. Yeah, with Minnesota, you stayed right above it. And that's great. I think the Rams, I worry a little bit Minnesota. I think they're going to win. I hope they win. There's something about that team that freaks me out.
You know, they're going to lose now, and I'm going to be thinking about this here. There's going to be somebody, Darren Ravel is going to retweet somebody who put 100,000 on the Lions money line, and I'm going to think that stinking Rasa called it.
Yeah. And then I'm going to show you that my ticket 100 large on the Lions, and it's going to add insult to injury. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, you know what? I would hope that Madison and co will be able to stop Jamal Williams and co. On the other side. It's the battle of backup running backs. My lock it up. I'm just going to stick to the game tonight. Again, college football is certainly where I feel best. If you want those picks, again, at Jazz Res DFS or get inside the ropes. I think the under tonight, Taysom Hill, when he starts, look at the history if you want to go back. Every game he started last year, very methodical outputs from both teams. Why? Because he really transformed the Saints into a slow, time-heavy, possession-heavy team. If they do that against Dallas, I just don't simply think that the teams are going to be able to get enough big plays to combat that. So I got under 47 just a little while ago. I see 45.5. I still go under. So tonight, low outputs, ugly game. Let's cash the tickets.
And we threw that under 22.5 in there as well at plus 105. Something to keep a thought on. Look, you can't get out of here unless you give thoughts on the Koepka lock it up play. John Shelton, Koepka.
Hey, man. Yeah, golf is
the hero.
I guess golf is kind of back. It's only a 20-person tournament, and that's a little shady, but hey.
Hey, if we're betting on the Jets and Dolphins games, we're going to bet on a 20-man tournament, all right?
I respect that. You honestly can find some pretty good numbers in there, no joke. So it's hard to know where these guys are at, mentally. I'm sure they're having a good time down there, not taking it too seriously, but hey, golf betting. Don't think for a minute we're not going to have that covered here at Awesemo Odds. So I'm very excited for the season to get started, and maybe you pad the bankroll with a little hero open action.
I love it, brother. All right, at Jazz Raz DFS, make sure you thank Ben on Twitter. Make sure you thank Mike in the chat for producing. We appreciate you out there. Thank all of us by just hitting that thumbs up button, subscribe. Pretty good ratio. I know we don't have a ton of people watching, but the people watching are hitting the thumbs up button.
Yeah, no, we're going to try to build it up. And you guys, we appreciate you guys stopping in. Obviously, spread that word, and we're going to keep it going here. So starts with cash and tickets. That's what we're going to do tonight. Good luck, my friends. Enjoy the game. Hit us up with questions if you have them. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.